No? No issues for exercise for me? Okay, then please submit your homework to the front. Where did the two of them go? Oh, okay, so you shift space. Oh, then where did Joshua go? Oh, okay. Homework, submit please. Yeah? Sure, can. Okay. Yeah, for in here. Yeah. Finish up our matrices, okay, looking at problem sums. Alright, so once we're done with that, okay, then we will move into our vectors. Okay, so let me set up the visualizer first. In the meantime, you can turn to your textbook, page 151. Okay, because the question is fairly long, so I'm not going to write it on the board. Textbook page 151. Please take some time to read question 1 first. What's the sound? So textbook page 151, yeah? Okay, question 1. We are given that Hui Xie Lin take a multiple choice test. Matrices X and Y show the results of the test and the marks awarded respectively. In part I, it asks how many questions are there in the test. So based on your interpretation from the matrices itself, how many questions do you think there are in this test? What will your answer be? Yang, what do you think? How many questions are there in this test? 20. Do you say that? Okay. How many of you will agree that there are 20 questions in this test? Okay. Anybody disagree with it? Alright, so you should observe that there are 20 questions because in this row we see that there are the questions attempted by Hui Xian and this one is by Li Xing. So just by looking at the row and adding up the numbers itself, we will see that it is consistent. Okay, so there are 20 questions in this test. Okay. Then in part 2, we want to evaluate x, y. So that means that we have to multiply these two matrices. So what we have in our matrix on the left, what is the order of this matrix? Noi? Order of this matrix? sorry, 3 by 2, 3 by 3. Order of this matrix then. 2 by 3, okay. And then the order of this matrix, what would it be? 3 by 1, okay. So therefore, my final order of the matrix should be what kind of matrix? Answer? 2 by 1, okay. So could you do this matrix multiplication and figure out what is this matrix going to be? Give you just a minute to do that. Sorry, I wrote wrongly on my board. This should be a negative 1, right? This is incorrect. Negative 1. Okay, so what is this matrix going to be? First entry, what do I have, Joanne? Sorry, 28. Okay, do we all get 28? It should be 16 times 2 plus 0 times 0 plus 4 times negative 1. Okay, and then the very last entry, Charmaine, what do we have? 21. Okay, so this should be the matrix. 2 rows by 1 column. Okay, now let's look at part 3. It asks to explain what your answer to part 2 represents. Okay, so looking at this matrix that we got and understanding how did we go about doing the calculation, okay, we can try to figure out what the elements in this matrix actually represent. Alright, so looking at how the matrix multiplication worked, okay, we took the number of correct questions done by Hui Xian, multiplied by the number of marks, okay, to be awarded for a correct answer. Okay, then adding up with the 0 questions for no attempt and then 0 marks for no attempt, and then 4 incorrect questions and negative 1 marks for incorrect attempt. Alright, so doing that kind of calculation, it will suggest that 28 should be representing the number of marks that Hui Xian is actually getting, because this row over here represents the questions that Hui Xian did. Okay, so the other entry here for 21 will be the number of marks received by this thing itself. Okay, so to actually write it out with words, we can say that it represents the total marks awarded to Hui Xian and Li Xing respectively. Okay, we got to mention that these are the 2 girls involved, right? So you cannot just stop at it represents the total marks awarded. Okay, that's not true because it is awarded to each individual, right? Moving on to question 2, I want all of you to take 1 minute just to read the entire question. Okay, it's a very long question. Take 1 minute to read it. Okay. What did I press? me? Done reading? Okay, so let's figure out the answer for part I. Okay, so in summary, we are given each outlet, how much each type of otah is actually bought, the cost of the otah for each flavor. Okay, we want to write down two matrices such that, okay, there is this criteria, the elements of their product under matrix multiplication. So we got to do matrix multiplication for these two matrices, and the elements actually give the total cost of otah delivered to each outlet, okay, itself. Alright, so I think that if we are not required to do matrix multiplication, surely we would be able to do that kind of the calculation, the arithmetic behind it. We are able to do it because we are going to take 70 fish, okay, then after that multiply by 35 cents because that's the cost for fish, plus 120 prawns times 40 cents, plus 90 times 45 plus 80 times 38. So that is going to be the amount, okay, the total cost of the otah for the Tampines outlet, right? So to do that simple arithmetic, I think we can handle. But okay, the challenge is in forming out the matrix itself. Okay, we can still rely on this understanding of how we're supposed to go about doing our multiplication. So that will serve as a guide, okay, in forming our matrices itself. Okay, so intuitively, what we can do is that looking at the numbers, how it is being organized, we follow the same presentation. Okay, so we have one matrix that is focusing on the number of otah being delivered to each outlet, or rather being ordered by each outlet. So we will have 70, 120, 90, 80, 120, 150. Sorry, make sure that the order is aligned. Yeah? So this is 0, 150, 140. Because we want fish to be this column, prawns to be this, S is what? Squid, and then M is mixed seafood. 150, 50, 150, 85, 60, 200, 140, 70, 0, 80, 110, 095. So we're having a 5 by 4 matrix here. Okay? Alright, so at least we got one matrix settled. Okay? Then we need to figure out the second matrix. The second matrix must be able to multiply by this, and the way it multiplies and adds eventually must be such that I can take 70 fish to multiply by 35, 120 to multiply by 40, 90 to multiply by 45, and 80 to multiply by 38. Okay, so remembering how matrix multiplication works is that we take this row, multiply by the column, right? So that means that the other matrix should be a column matrix where I have 35, 40, 45, and 38. Okay, so this is the cost for the fish, prawn, squid, and mixed seafood. Okay. So figuring out the two matrices should rely on how you want to do your matrix multiplication and your addition. Okay. So because the question says specifically write down the two matrices, so please write them down like that first. Okay, so these are the two matrices. You need not go about labeling the header, the fish, prawn, squid, and mixed seafood. Okay, it will just serve as a guide. You may want to, in fact, you want to write down Tampines, Bedok, City Hall, Toa Payoh, and Jurong East. Okay, then we proceed with the matrix multiplication. So need to rewrite everything again. Because that is going to form part of our working. So we see that this is a 5 by 4 matrix. And this is a 4 by 1 matrix. So our final order should be a 5 by 1 matrix. So could you key this into your calculator, okay, do the matrix multiplication, figure out what is the cost to be for the OTA delivered to each outlet. So 5 by 1 matrix in the end. Okay, just give you 2 minutes. Okay, are we done? Done your calculation? Tilda, what's your first element? Sorry? 14,340. Okay, second entry, Wei Chan. Great, 16,270. Third entry, Lin Hui. Sorry, then do now. One two 105. Okay. And then third one, Emily, what do you get? Fourth entry. 15750. And then the last one, Chloe? 10810. Great. I hope all of us are able to get these entries, okay, for matrix multiplication. Right? Then now let's move on to look at part 3. Let me shift this up a bit. Okay, in part 3, we are looking at a different context now. Okay, let's say context, okay, different requirement. So it says that in the month of December, Tampines outlet received 45 deliveries, Bedok 42, City Hall 38, Toa Payoh 55, Jurong East 52. Okay, we want to again write down two matrices such that the elements of their product give the total number of sticks of each type of OTA. So we are looking at each type of OTA now. Okay, we want to know how many OTA is being delivered out by the factory. Right? So how would you do this calculation in a very normal context without doing matrices? What would you have done? Bervin, what do you think? how will you go about calculating the number of sticks of each type of quota? Let's say just do the fish one first. How will you do this calculation for number of fish quota being delivered out? Sorry? Delivery times sticks, okay? So we are going to be taking Tampines 45, alright? 45 deliveries times 70, okay? And then after we have to add, alright? Our Bedok 42 times 120 plus City Hall 38 times 0, okay? Because there's no fish being delivered. Then after that, 200 for Toa Payoh times 55 deliveries, and also add up with 80 times 52. So that is how we do our usual calculation if without matrices. So keeping that in mind, okay, if I were to keep this matrix on the left here, is there a way for me to actually create another matrix such that the two matrices multiply each other to give us what we want? Could I actually, because this is a 5 by 4 matrix, right? Okay, I will need to have at least a 4 by something matrix, okay, to actually figure out to do my matrix multiplication. Okay, so am I able to create a 4 by something matrix? In this case, I can't because there are actually 5 outlets. So I got 5 elements that I want to put in, right? So I definitely cannot take this matrix and then with this one on the right side, because I will not be able to have a 4 by something matrix or 4 by 1 matrix in fact. Okay, then how? Right? Please keep in mind that your matrix multiplication need not always be this one on the left, something else on the right. They can also switch around because you're creating these matrices anyway. Right? And keeping in mind that we're trying to end up taking something, multiply with this, plus something else, multiply with this, plus something else, multiply with this. You understand? So what we could do in fact is that my second matrix should be a row matrix, okay, whereby I have my 45 for Tampines, 42, 38, 55, and 52. Whereby this is the one on the left side, and this 5 by 4 matrix on the right side. Okay, when I arrange it in this manner, okay, this is going to be a 1 by 5 matrix. This is a 5 by 4. I am going to do 45 times 70 plus 42 times 120 plus this times this, and so on. Okay. Then when all this add up and product together, okay, I'm looking at the number of fish quota sticks that are being set out. Okay. Then also in the next one, I will do this set times this one. Then I will figure out the prawn, squid, as well as the mixed seafood subsequently. Okay, 1 by 5 matrix multiplied by a 5 by 4 matrix. My answer will be a 1 by 4 matrix, which makes sense because there are 4 flavors. There should actually be 4 elements. Okay, so could you do this matrix multiplication and get the answer required? Okay, are we all done? I think generally I see that most of you are done. You should be able to get a 1 by 4 matrix. That is your 2, 3, 3, 5, 0, 2, 4, 5, 2, 0. Oops. 17430 and 16700. Okay. I missed out on something. I overlooked the question. Question actually asks for obtain this product. Then after it said enhance, find the total number of OTA supplied by the factory to these outlets. So we want to find the total number of OTA. So at this point we only got the total amount per flavor. Okay, so to find the total amount of OTA being supplied, we have to do a manual calculation. Okay, so that will be taking each of the elements and add them up together. Okay, then our answer should be 82,000 OTA in total. Okay. Okay, just maybe to throw it out there. Okay, what if the question say that obtain this product and it asks you to do some form of matrix multiplication to find the total number of OTA. That means you need to take this matrix over here times another matrix to find total number. What would that second matrix be like? Just to extend this question a little. What are you going to do with this matrix? My hint is that I need to multiply with a column matrix. Since this one is a 4 by 1, this, 1 by 4, am I doing? What is this 4 by 1 matrix going to be? Such that everything can add up and then I will get my 82,000. Which is a matrix, huh? A 1 by 1 matrix. Any ideas? Kasia, what do you think? You look like you have something. 1, 1, 1, 1. Very good. Okay, so we can have a matrix full of ones because we are intending to take this number plus, okay, so that's 1, alright, plus this one, then plus this and plus this. Alright, so if I want to do it by strictly by matrix multiplication only, okay, I need to have a 1, 1, 1, 1 matrix. Right, so it need not always be numbers coming out from the question. Okay, so you can create a question a matrix like that for us to actually do the calculation. But do keep in mind that your final answer must be a matrix. Okay, it is a 1 by 1 matrix, so you must have the brackets. Very often students tend to forget this set of brackets here and then tell me 82,000. Then that's not correct. Okay? Alright, understand? Questions? Okay, next we look at part 3. Okay, part 3 with the information provided in part I and part 2, we want to write down two matrices so that the product will give the total revenue by the OTA factory in the month of December. Okay, so in part I, we have a matrix for the total cost of OTA delivered to each outlet. Part 2, we have the total number of OTA per flavor. Okay, so part 3, if I want to find total revenue, right? Think about how you will do this, okay, in a normal setting without matrices, so that you can create this matrix that you want. Okay, so think about it first. Let me erase the whiteboard. There are two ways that you could do this. Okay, so let me just write down what we got in part I. This one is total cost of OTA delivered. Okay, so this one is Tampines, Bedok, City Hall, Toa Payoh, Jurong East. And then in part 2, what we got was this one. Which was the total of water supply. Okay, you want to find from the perspective of the factory, what is the total revenue? Okay, so given that we have the cost of the OTA delivered for each outlet, okay, what would you do with these numbers? Alright, logically, okay, what would you do with these numbers to figure out the total revenue? So now knowing the cost, what would you actually do? What will you multiply by in order to get the total revenue? What do you think? Ying, what do you think? The cost times the total number of OTA. Okay, let's think about it. Alright, if I were to take this cost of OTA delivered for each outlet, okay, times the number of OTA, that means, what do you mean by number of OTA? So that means that, for example, can you give me an example? 14340, what will you multiply that by? What is this number of OTA? Sorry? So what is the number you will multiply with 14340? Give me the number. Not the matrix, just the number. Sorry? 82020. Where do you get that number from? 82,000. So you take 14340 times 82,000. That's 16270. Will you be multiplying 82,000 also? No, right? So that doesn't make sense, right? Any suggestion? Yes, Dylan? Times number of deliveries. So why do we times number of deliveries? Okay, so Dylan is explaining that this one in part I is just the total cost of one delivery. Okay, but in part 2 they mentioned that there are certain deliveries, okay, certain number of deliveries being made, okay, in the month of December, and we're looking at month of December also. Okay, so sensibly, okay, if you were to take 14340, which is the cost for each delivery for the outlet, we need to multiply with total number of deliveries for that particular outlet, so that we can figure out the total revenue, okay, for the outlet. But we need to eventually still sum it up, because I need to take 14340 times 45, and then I need to add 16270 times 42, so that I get the total cost going on. Yes, Bobby. Take this one times the. I never say that this one will look. I say that there are two methods, so I just do one method first. Okay, so let's just stick with this matrix first. Okay, so with this matrix, alright. Okay, hang on. Okay, this matrix is a 5 by 1 matrix. Okay, 5 by 1 matrix. I want to be able to get a total amount of money being received by the OTA factory. Okay, and that will have to be a 1 by 1 matrix. I must have a 1 by 1 answer. So therefore, I need to multiply something on the left so that I have 5 and 5 over here. And then I must have a 1 by 5 matrix. So this 1 by 5 matrix will be our number of deliveries in that month: 45, 42, 38, 55, and 52. Okay, so that I'm actually doing 45 times this plus 42 times this and so on. And doing that calculation, I will be getting 3217000. Okay. So this is one method. Okay, where you take the cost of OTA delivered for each outlet, and in fact this one is or per delivery. Okay, so we need to multiply the number of deliveries in that month. Okay. Alternatively, what you could also do is to make use of your answer in part 2. Maybe let me do here. Whereby the answer in part 2, we have the total OTA supplied per flavor. Okay, so total OTA per flavor, that's a mouthful to say. Okay, to find out what is the total cost or total revenue, okay, we need to multiply by the cost of all this OTA. Okay, so this one might be easier to handle because we already know fish I have already sent out 23,350 in total. Okay, and I know that per fish is actually 35 cents. Right? So I could just take 23350, multiply with 35. Then after that, I need to add up 24520 times 40 cents. So I will say that using part 2's matrix might be more intuitive in the calculation as compared to doing what we have first introduced. Okay, but I still have to go through both lah, because you never know what you have in the exam also. Okay, so you need to be clear about the two methods that we're doing as well. Alright, so to do this multiplication, whereby I'm going to take this, multiply with 35 plus 40 times this plus this one times 45. Okay, I am looking at a 1 by 4 matrix, and I need to eventually get a 1 by 1 matrix. So I should be multiplying another matrix on the right side of it. Four, 5, 2, 0. Okay, I need a 4 by 1 matrix that will be 35 cents, 40 cents, 45, and 38. Our answer will still be 3217000. But to answer the question, okay, the question actually wants the total revenue. So the total revenue is 3217000. What's the unit of this amount? Cents, huh? So do keep in mind about what is in your answer blank. Okay, sometimes maybe they put dollar, then you need to do your conversion. So cents to dollar divided by 100. Answer will be $32,170. Okay? Questions? No? What time did our lessons end? 12:40. Still 10 more minutes. Okay, I just have one more question that I want to do. Let me take a look at the question again. Okay. Let's turn to our textbook, page 156. Oops, what's the color? Okay, could you maybe just attempt this? I think you need the practice. Right? Do page 156, question 5 now. And maybe we can go through it tomorrow. If you're still unsure how we did, you can raise your hand. I'll come over to you to explain again.